In this clip, we'll look at the basics of searching with the Queensland Family History Society Data Search application. This is the latest version of Data Search, but the changes from previous versions are largely cosmetic and the functionality the same. In the world of databases, the information is stored in one or more tables. Each table contains multiple records. Each record will contain information for an individual person or event such as a birth. The records within each table contain the same fields, such as surname, given names, etc. In this table, the Queensland Brands Directory, we can see just three fields: surname, given names, address. Data Search tells us that the table contains 79,410 records. This drop-down box indicates that this database contains other tables. Not all QFHS databases will contain more than one table. If we select another table, we can see the fields that are contained within that table. In this instance, quite a few more fields are available. The name of the farm, the nearest post office, etc. If we look at the other table that was in there, sheep brands, a similar array of fields. But how do we find out about which of those tables is most relevant to us? If we look across the top here, we can see a number of little icons. When we point at an icon, a tooltip will drop down to indicate what the icon will do for us. This one here, Overview, will tell us about the particular table. If we click on Overview, we get quite a deal of information about that particular table. The sort of data included, how it was collected, and later on some tips about how we might go about searching it. So let's now see how we go about searching. We've selected the horse and cattle brands table, which has 60,000 records. I'm looking for some information about a character by the name of James Smith. If I enter Smith into the surname and click Start Search, it will bring up a list of records which meet that criterion. You'll notice across the top here we have the various fields: surname, given names, title, and so forth, and each of these represents a record. If we click on different records, you'll notice that things down the bottom area here are changing because this box contains all the information for a single record. We can move through these records in a sequence by clicking on the arrow up here going to the next record, or we can click on the other arrow which goes to the previous record, or if we want to move quickly we can scroll through them, or we can come to this arrow here and scroll down through them as well. So there's lots of ways that we can move through the records to see what we're interested in. Unfortunately, we can see here that we've got 567 records. Now, it's unlikely that we'd want to actually go through and read all 567. So let's go back to the search and put in some more information. So if we put in James in the given names field and click Start Search, it gives us 35 records, which is much more manageable. The only question we have to ask is that all of the James Smiths that we can find? Unfortunately, this doesn't contain James some other name Smith. So let's go back to the search. To accommodate this, we can go over here to the match criterion and we can change it from whole of field to start of field. So this basically means if the name James occurs at the start of the field, we should select that record. Let's click Start Search, and we can now see that we have the James field still. We've got 45 records now, and towards the end of our list we can see we've got James Alfred and James Augustus and so forth. So we've actually picked up more James Smiths. Now we haven't quite finished with this problem yet. James Smith may be what this character liked to call himself, but it may not have been his official title which he used in official documents. He may have in fact been something or other James Smith. So we can accommodate that by going back to our match criterion and change it to anywhere in the field. This will therefore give us all the records that contain Smith and James somewhere within the given names field. So let's go back and see how we go. Start search, and you notice now that we've got Albert James Smith, Charles James, and if we scroll to the bottom we've got lots of James Smiths, and we've got some other options as well. So we can see that we can find records relatively easy using search criterion. If we click up the top here, we can reset those fields. In the next clip, we'll look at some of the things we can do when we've found records that seem useful.